I'm Jimmy Holmes, President and Publisher of the San Antonio Business Journal. We're going to be talking about building our future workforce. Jim, I'm going to start with you. Could you give us some background on Port San Antonio?
Sure. Port San Antonio is an old Air Force base. It was Kelly Air Force Base. And the beautiful thing about it is I knew where Kelly Air Force Base was before I knew where San Antonio was. And it was the most important air logistics center in our entire national history. We acquired it back in 1998. Boeing was one of our first customers to come on in. And here's what we're doing today. We're not a port. We are a giant research campus, and we're doing two things. We're creating an experiment that matches people up with opportunities. Come talk to us about the Boeing Center and what we're doing down there. And number two, we're finding ways to incorporate new technologies into our critical transportation and manufacturing industry.
Boeing is a major player in the aerospace and technology industries and is the largest resident of Port San Antonio. How has Boeing grown Port San Antonio workforce over the year, and what's the status of Boeing at Port San Antonio now?
That's a great question, Jimmy, and thanks, Jim. I would say that Boeing has a long history of partnership with Port San Antonio that goes back 25 years. As a matter of fact, we just celebrated the 25th anniversary this past August. As Jim alluded to, the legacy in San Antonio of the port and our work there goes back a very long time. And it's certainly been a great partnership and continues to be a great partnership. Since 2018, we've tripled our workforce with Boeing in San Antonio, at Port San Antonio, by supporting our U.S. Navy and our U.S. Air Force and bringing in new products like our F-18, our F-15, and our B-52, which joined our legacy C-17 program that we had there at the port. Since then, we've continued to invest in our partnership. We've actually invested in the Kelly Foundation in order to promote the education of students in Texas, in San Antonio, right? And to open up opportunities for careers in the future. With that, we made an investment of $2.3 million to the Kelly Foundation in support of the port and our future opportunities there. So we're very excited about our partnership and the future.
Thank you. So Aaron, you've got 3 weeks left at your job, right? So you start your new one pretty soon. Tell us a little bit about what the state's doing to help grow our future workforce.
State's doing a number of things at that level, and so I'm delighted. I always say the rubber meets the road at the local level, and so delighted to be here in Arlington. Met the mayor, Phaedra Rediford, that's here, represents this particular Workforce Solutions Office, Judy McDonald as well. That collaboration, I say, when you bring together the worlds of workforce, economic development, and education, we're well on our way to success. We do that coupled with the elected leadership that gets it. The mayor gets that from that standpoint. And so initiatives that are taking place today, employers like Boeing, that we really respect and appreciate, and other initiatives like our Be Pro, Be Proud initiative. They have a huge truck outside, students coming in. There are opportunities for these students to really tap it, fill it. You're going to hear from Roy Spence with the Make It movement. And then corporations like Meta, who's making a difference in this space, where they're actually committing $300,000. That announcement, that press release is coming out to do some things in a big way. Employers putting their talk action behind that talk and making a big difference. And so Holly is here from Meta. Glad that you're here as well. These yes. are boots on the ground, real world activities where they're taking advantage of opportunities for us here in Texas. Thank you, Boeing, for what you're doing as well.
All right. So, Jim, Port San Antonio is known for its innovation and collaboration hubs. Can you tell us about specific programs or partnerships aimed at attracting more people?
Yeah, I sure can. So our entire campus focus, we built a giant $70 million entertainment center just to attract people down here. And using the power of metal music and the power of airplanes and $17 beers, what we are doing is funding education. So we bring in 150,000 kids a year. They come into that building, and through the partnerships, the sponsorships, in the past 6 months, we put $460,000 into direct educational programs. We had 100 kids come in, build their own computers, left with a $3,000 gaming machine, but left knowing a little bit more about computers, including how to turn them on. We had a group of kids come in. They're going to spend the next 8 weeks learning how to build drones. They're going to leave with their FAA drone certificate. but they're going to learn about urban air mobility, which is one of the things we're working on our campus, building one of the first vertiports operational in the world. And we've got 30 kids, I'm really excited about this, working with the same people on our campus doing the Lunar Manufacturing Complex. And so these 30 kids are going to spend 14 months. They are going to be working on building printers and robots that will mine the moon with the same scientists who are doing it on our campus. In the past 5 years, we have added not only 8,000 jobs to our campus, we've grown our top line and our bottom line, but most important, we have seen new innovations come out. We've got a 70-foot tall robot with a 20-kilowatt laser attached to its arm that strips the coating off of an airplane in a fraction of the time and saves all the environmental problems. That was a computer software salesman who thought about it. We've got a company that is taking robots out of controlled spaces and putting them in uncontrolled spaces. They only came to our campus because of the museum. But the thing we are most impressed with is these kids. When we started this effort a couple years ago, we have had 200,000 kids come through a 3,000 square foot museum. We have put millions of dollars into that. And the best part is in a world where people tell kids they can't accomplish something, we are showing them they can do anything they can. And I want to take a moment, I'm wearing Boeing blue, not just because the company's been so good to me for many years, but what Boeing is doing with these programs is they directly articulate to jobs on our campus with Boeing and with a host of other people. So thanks to what we're doing, and Aaron, thank you to the Commission, we are going to create opportunities for Texas for the next 100 years.
Thank you, Jim. Samantha, what skills in education do you want to see the future workforce obtain?
Predominantly, we look for manufacturing and engineering skills, but the reality is that we also hire supply chain, procurement, sales and marketing, program management, right? Really runs the gambit. And I will say I'm HR, so it's every function you can possibly think of, and all of those jobs are represented at Port San Antonio as well, and across the state of Texas. I think the investments that Boeing has made in general to workforce development and education, particularly in the state of Texas, somewhere around $3 million in investment in education, is a huge focus for us. And those skills across the board are going to help us be successful in the future.
All right. Aaron, how can government agencies and organizations like the Texas Workforce Commission assist in creating a pipeline for talent in technology and science-related fields?
Well, it all starts at the local level. And so those workforce solution offices, we have 28 in the state of Texas, working with employers, listening to employers. That's where we make the difference. And then these students that are out here, that's our future pipeline of talent. And so taking advantage of those programs, the Be Pro, Be Proud, the Make It movement that you're here about, what corporations are doing, and then doubling down on that. We have something that's called Texas Interns Unite that we're doing, basically getting out there, providing opportunities for students, the apprenticeship programs that are there. Doing that is where we make a difference. I also saw Tamara that's in the audience and Paul Fletcher. These are workforce solution officers that are here throughout the state of Texas. And when they're talking and working with their employers in their respective communities, then we're going to make all the difference in the world. Two prime examples that are sitting right here as well. And then Holly with Meta, all of that's real. It's not talk, it's action. And that allows us to do it here in Texas.
All right. Jim, Samantha, do you want to add to that on how you guys are working together?
There's a couple things I'd like to say. First, I want to recognize Margaret Wilson-Alley, our board chair. Margaret deserves a huge round of applause. When you're a real estate development company, trying to convince people to invest in education is tough, but Margaret has made it her priority, and so she's made it the organization's priority. The other thing, I want to recognize my good friend, Dr. Shantae Hall. She's sitting back there. She doesn't want to be recognized. Shantae is amazing. She enlisted in the Air Force at 17. Today, she's got a PhD. She has started a nonprofit called the Centurion Military Alliance, which is helping our veterans transition, helping them create opportunities that go beyond the service in this nation. And when you look at the opportunities for our transitioning veterans, I am proud to say that the Boeing Company at Port San Antonio has a tremendous number. I'll let you tell everybody how many of transitioning veterans, but you look at this. And what we have built here in Texas is opportunities for young people. We're letting them know these opportunities exist, and we're opening doors for them. For our service members, who in many cases haven't been given the respect that they deserve. And so putting these communities together is something we really appreciate.
Samantha, as a representative of a prominent technology company, can you share your experiences and insights on the challenges and opportunities in attracting STEM careers?
It's a great question, and it's a great question because I think it remains a challenge. We continue to try to recruit globally, and as we think about recruiting here in Texas, I think one of the most important things, as a matter of fact, Margaret and I had a great conversation about this earlier, is giving people opportunity to see themselves in leadership and in roles that matter. So when we think about STEM education, making sure that we have these opportunities for students to be able to participate and understand what is open to them in the future. And we're trying to do that. I don't see him in the crowd, but I have a leader on my team. His name's Shane Chapman. He's our workforce development manager. And one of the things that we have been working on very intently is building relationships with workforce boards across North Texas to start, but will absolutely be expanded across the rest of Texas in order to help build those pipelines in critical areas like STEM. So we're trying to get out there and we're trying to build those relationships, and we're opening our doors because we recognize how important it is for students to see themselves in the work that we do.
Thank you. Aaron, what steps are being taken at the state level to ensure that the workforce development efforts align with the evolving demands of technology?
So we're really doubling down in that space. And again, it just goes back to at the local level, statewide. I'm bringing together organizations, Texas Association of Manufacturers, our Texas State Science Fair that we have on an annual basis on the Texas A&M campus. Those are initiatives that we're putting forward into the schools as well to make sure that students have access to all of that technology. We recently finished our second Rally in the Valley. It was an event that we did focused on internships. I mean, it's a second one, 2.0. So we're going from that area. I'll be in East Texas next week. Power in the Pines. We're doing something there. Internship opportunities. San Antonio, Jenna and that team have already hit me with what they want to do in that space. And so doing what we can to make a difference in the STEM areas is something that's happening at the state level in big, big ways. Again, partnering with corporations. I was in San Francisco last week at an AI conference. And again, you take that information, you apply it locally. Our workforce solutions officers are the boots on the ground to make everything happen in that space, and that's what we're doing. The example today, again, Meta, Be Pro, Be Proud. Look at those initiatives. What you're here with Roy Spence, those are real world situations, and they're taking place in our great state of Texas.
All right, Jim, would you like to add to that?
What can I add to that other than to say that Texas leads the way in a whole lot of things? But the one thing I hope you all take out of this, even though we're here in Cowboy Stadium, and I'll admit I'm an Eagles fan, is that there is nothing you can't accomplish if you believe in yourself. And Texas is doing a great thing. And I'll even give a shout out to my good friend Ed Curtis. I think we're paying for his season tickets today. But this creation of optimism does something great for the Texas. So thank you all for what you do.
All right, Samantha, any parting words?
I'm just excited. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to connect and meet with students. I'm excited to start building our pipelines and helping people see what work we do at Boeing. And I just want to end by acknowledging what Jim was talking about around military and veterans. There is a huge dedication on behalf of Boeing to really lean into the military and veteran community. And I hope to be able to make some of those connections here today too. We have opportunities even for military spouses. We have a new military spouse program as well to support spouses who are traveling with their partners around the world, right? And how do we ensure that they have opportunities as well? So I'm super excited to be here. I'm thankful to be on this panel with two amazing people here. So thank you, Jim.
Well, I want to invite everyone to come to Port San Antonio to check it out. If you haven't been there, it's really incredible. Their new Boeing Tech Arena is something to marvel at. And the museum, the Tesla coils. Tell them about the Tesla coils.
Tesla coils, we have the largest array of Tesla coils. We can play metal music with them, but what they are is wireless power transmission devices.
No Guns N' Roses, right?
We just short it out so we can do
Hardcore
60-foot
metal.
sparks that play music. But come down, because one day, within y'all's lifetime, we're going to be generating power from space and wirelessly beaming it back down to Earth, and that's going to be developed right here in Texas.
You mentioned Tesla, and so we do have Tamara Atkinson here and Paul Fletcher, and so they have a huge plant there in the city of San Antonio. I'm going to end with this real quick. I was in Mexico City years ago, and this grandmother was sharing with her grandson the best way to be successful with this show and tell presentation. She said, "Mijo, in order to be successful, you need to make sure that you speak loud so that they'll hear you." So got that. Make sure that you speak loud, clearly, so that they'll understand you. Got that. They said, last and most important, make sure that you finish fast so that they'll clap for you. And so we're going to finish fast over here. I've never had a host come grab me to come to the stadium We're speed talking because we have about 12 minutes on this panel, and so thank you for all that you're doing. Thank you guys for what you're doing. Boots on the ground at the local level. That's what makes a difference. I represent the commission, represent employers, 2 other commissioners, one that represents labor and one that represents the public, our chair, Brian Daniel, and Alberto Trevino representing labor. And so we're here to help. And as I go on to the next position, we're going to do the same again, bringing together the worlds of workforce, economic development, and education, coupling that with elected leadership that gets it, and we're well on our way to success. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right. That was a great segue. He's the new CEO of Texas Economic Development Corporation, so we can't wait to see all the companies you're going to bring to town and our future help build our future workforce in our companies. I want to thank our panelists very much for their insightful words today, and hope you all enjoy the rest of your day.